down that boat!
Hello everyone and welcome back to Educating Toby. Last time on this series I shared with Toby 5 centimeters per second, the anime film from Shinkai. This week, however, we watched Zelig, didn't we, Toby?
We did the Woody Allen 1983 mockumentary.
Yeah, Zelig basically follows the story of Zelig, the main character, played by Woody Allen. A man who, due to various psychological problems, can take on the appearance and personality of those around him. So if he's with a Frenchman that's fat, he becomes fat and a Frenchman. And the story follows him and Mia Farrow, who is a psychoanalyst, trying to cure him of his fears and problems. And that's pretty much the story, really. It's told in a way through like news bulletins, and it's a mockumentary, so news bulletins and sort of footage from the time of these things were supposedly going on. And throughout the story, Zelig comes across famous people from history, including Hitler at one point. So, Toby, what did we think?
First, are you saying Zelig or Zelig? Because I was going to say Zelig, but
I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure he says Zelig actually in the film, isn't it?
yeah, you just said Zelig.
I said Zelig because to me it sounds better.
Yeah,
But it probably is Zelig.
It could be, yeah, I guess, I can't remember now.
I think it depends.
Anyway.
I mean, on the cover here we've got different ways of it being, like different fonts. But to me, some of them look like Zelig and some of them look like Zelig. Well, that to me is Zelig, and so is that, but that would be Zelig to me.
This is like Knife and Kniffy, though.
Yeah. Anyway.
Back on point. The film, yes, Woody Allen, for me, he's incredibly divisive.
I will say, personally, I prefer the older Woody Allen films, especially his comedies. Whereas you tend actually to more the modern ones.
Not overly. It's quite mixed for me.
Okay.
Because Annie Hall, I'd say, is one of my favourite films of all time. But then you've got, I really, really like Midnight in Paris. I think that's excellent.
Okay.
And I like Blue Jasmine, despite
Blue
the fact
Jasmine
that it
was his latest masterpiece.
I think it's a bit of a rip-off of Streetcar Named Desire.
I've yet to see that, so
There's an educating for you.
Yeah.
But this is good. I think it's. The problem I have with it is that its style does it no favours in this mockumentary approach to it. I think that the character could be incredible, Zelig, however we want to say it.
Comment below.
But he's sort of stifled in his own film in a way by the archive footage, by the newsreel and by the voiceover, to the point where we can never get close to him or really care a great deal for him. And his misdemeanors and events are more, they make you smile rather than they make you laugh. So
Yeah.
tonally, I don't necessarily think it's a comedy either. I think it's saying a lot of big things. It's got lots of themes about individuality and American capitalism, and and you mentioned this about Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I did.
Getting some inspiration from this.
Yeah, it
somehow.
seems like it's for me.
And you can definitely tell that. Although where I don't like Forrest Gump, I'm not a fan of it at all.
I'm not either.
I think it just basically promotes conformity and stuff like that. Whereas this does, but it's got that tongue-in-cheek element because obviously ditches that identity of where he becomes the sort of, you know, the mass star,
Yeah.
to accept his own life and his own tastes and his own identity, essentially. But then it's quite funny because he needs to become this sort of chameleon again when he's in the plane as a pilot, and that shoots him back to fame. So
I forgot to mention that. That's what they called him, the chameleon.
A chameleon, yeah.
Which I did love.
So I think it's more of an ironic film than a comedic film, but I think the style really does stifle it, and I can see it. It's very forward thinking. You know, it's ahead of the game in terms of, because I can't really recall a great deal of mockumentaries in the 80s apart from This Is Spinal Tap, really.
Yeah.
So it's ahead of the game in that sense, but looking at it now, however many years on, I just think if this was a straight-laced drama with an excellent character as Zelig leading the way across a whole bunch of misdemeanors and, you know, hilarity, I think it would be better served as a Woody Allen masterpiece rather than a good, solid Woody Allen film, which I think this is for me.
I would agree with that, because if it was done the way as you said, especially towards the beginning of the film when you're told that this person is seen throughout these different places in different makeup, like once he appears as a black man, another time he appears as in a mariachi band. If you actually saw that, it would be a lot more. You'd be a lot more into the film than you are with the way it is.
Yeah, and I think some people could take some criticism with that, because obviously we've talked about this in a podcast before briefly with Tropic Thunder and Robert Downey Jr. But when he did that in Tropic Thunder, that was quite controversial because there was not necessarily the substance behind it. But I think Woody Allen does at least give it some substance, in the sense that he sets it against a backdrop of sort of American repression and a lack of individuality. So there is maybe that sort of tongue-in-cheek element to it, which is clever from Allen, and he is a clever filmmaker. But here it just becomes a little bit too much for me, and there are points where it wavers a little bit, and it's only 72 minutes long. So for a film that's that short, to be that sort of to drop off the way it does in the second half is a little bit disappointing.
I think if it was any longer, I would have trouble watching it all the way through, to be honest.
It's quite troublesome as it is, with the talking heads and the voiceover and the archive footage, because I thought that was just how it was going to start. Not necessarily how it was going to
first
carry
time
on.
I watched it was the same. Yeah,
but it didn't. It sort of grew into itself, but not to the point where it becomes masterful or anything to write home about. It's just a good, solid Woody Allen film. It's Woody Allen taking risks, which is a good thing, you know. It's great when filmmakers do that, but it doesn't totally pay off.
No, whose list is this in? It's in someone's list of favourite films, isn't it?
It's David Fincher.
David Fincher's his 10th favourite film, isn't it?
I think we looked at top 10 for favourite directors. Directors' favourite 10 films, and it's in Fincher's list. Which I
find quite surprising. Actually.
I do as well. You know, at the amount of films that Fincher has directed and the variety of the films he's directed, he's done nothing really close to this. No. Like character-wise, plot-wise, thematically even. So that is strange, but I know we've all got our different tastes, and I can see why he'd like it, and I can see why he'd put it in his top 10. Yeah. But it wouldn't come close to me, and Woody Allen sort of has hit his peak with Annie Hall, and for me, nothing has come close. I
intend to still strive to find a film of Woody Allen's that you also like better than Annie Hall. There are many that you haven't seen.
There are a lot I haven't seen. Yeah. And like I said, Allen is a good filmmaker, but he often gives, in a way that Fincher is, I find them inconsistent. Fincher less so, but Allen can make some really, really profound or really, really humorous stuff. And then he can also make some really pretentious or some really dull stuff. So it's finding the balance.
Are you thinking of Vicky Cristina Barcelona there?
With the latter, yes, certainly. I didn't like that at all. But like I said, you know, Midnight in Paris, Annie Hall, I think they're fantastic. I think they're great. So, but this is in the middle of probably where I've seen of Woody Allen's back category. It's sort of come somewhere in the middle.
So we're pretty much in the same level with this film then, because I do like this film, but I don't consider it my favourite of Woody Allen's.
Yeah. What reason did you say, sort of, for me who hadn't seen it, obviously because this is about educating each other.
Yeah.
Why do you think I would have liked it?
I think I was just trying to show you a unique Woody Allen film, because there's none of his other films are like this.
It is very unique,
It
actually.
has elements of his films. There's a few funny lines which are very, very him.
Yeah.
And Mia Farrow is very him. But there's no other film of his that's like this. I believe there is one other film. I think it might be Crimes and Misdemeanors, which starts off also as archive footage.
Right.
But it goes within the first 15 minutes of the film.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it might be that one. It's either that or Small Time Crooks, something like that.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting sort of perspective, because it is always different to see new ideas and new styles. And you are right, it is a very unique film. And I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it.
No, okay.
So it comes in sort of midway.
Similar to the last one we watched, though.
Alan's list. Yeah, it's not a sort of perfect masterpiece. Although I know some people probably do perceive this as that.
Yeah.
And I can see why, but for me it just doesn't quite have that merit.
I would say more people would have heard of this than they would have heard of 5 centimeters per second. But this would be a very specific kind of person would have heard of this film. I don't think just your average film girl would have heard of Zelig.
Yeah, it's out there. I mean, if you're into Woody Allen or American comedies, you may well have heard of this. Even mockumentaries, it would probably, because that category is quite niche anyway, it would probably be somewhere near the top there. But other than that, it's I mean, I'm glad we've watched it. Yeah. And you've educated me to another side of Woody Allen, so
we can consider that a victory.
Excellent. I mean, once again, if you have any suggestions for us,
or if you want to tell us what your favourite Woody Allen film is, or whether you don't like Woody Allen films at all, and tell us why.
Have you seen Zelig? Let us know.
Have you seen Zelig, and what is your opinion?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
But that'll be it for us. Until next time, it is goodbye.
See you soon.